Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making some homemade bread. I'm going to show y'all a recipe that you can use to make your own homemade loaves of bread at home. It's just as easy and simple. It makes a great sandwich or even for a piece of toast. So y'all come on, and I'm going to show you this quick recipe that you can make an easy loaf of bread at home to save you a lot of money and time. Let's get started. Now, when making bread, you need to test your yeast before you add it to all your other ingredients. So we've got a half a cup of warm water right here, and we're going to add 2.5 teaspoons of our yeast to our warm water. And we've got to proof our yeast to make sure it's good before you start to add it to your bread. So we're just going to do 2.5 teaspoons, and then I'm going to add just a few little, probably a half a teaspoon of honey. You can use white sugar, you could even use maple syrup, but today we're going to be using honey in this loaf of bread. So now we're going to let our yeast sit there a few minutes and make sure it's good. We're going to let it proof. Okay, y'all, it's been 10 minutes. And look at there, I think my yeast is going crazy. It surely is working. Okay, now that we know our yeast is good, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our water and our yeast straight to our mixing bowl. And now to that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a half a cup of milk, and you want it around the same temperature. Now we're going to add a fourth of a cup of butter. My butter is salted. If you don't use salted butter, add a half a teaspoon of salt. 1 egg, and I'm going to break it before I put it in there to make sure my egg's good. I don't want to add it to my mixture and my egg be bad. Give it just a little mix, and we're going to put it in there. And now we're going to add a fourth of a cup of honey. And add it to our mixture. In today's loaf of bread, we're going to be using our new flour. We ordered this flour right here. It's a lot better for you. It's non-bleached. It's Durham wheat flour. And we're going to be using it today. And when you're measuring your flour, any kind of flour that you use, you want to make sure you don't pack your cups. So this recipe we're doing today calls for 3.5 cups of flour. And a lot of that depends on the weather and stuff too. You may have to add a little more or a little less. You just got to watch your dough and make that call on how you think your dough looks. But the recipe does call for 3.5 cups of flour. Now this is a half a cup, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start adding my flour to my mixing bowl. So that's one. And I'm going to go ahead and add the 3 cups of flour. And then we're going to give it a mix and see if I think I need that other half a cup. So that's 3 cups right there. And I'm going to let the mixer do the work for me today. Now, this recipe, you can do it in a bowl by hand. But today, I'm going to use my KitchenAid mixer, and I'm going to let her do a lot of the work for us. So we're just going to start mixing it. I'm going to turn it on a low speed and just let her get to mixing it. And as you're mixing it, you will have to lift it up and get around the edges. And just make it work down in there. Now I'll cut it up just a little bit that she's got it started. If you cut it up on high when you first start, your flour will go everywhere. So don't do that. That looks like it's going to turn out real good, but I believe we will add our other half a cup. We lock her down. She's starting to work that dough. And whenever you use a mixer like this, you'll want to let it do it for around, once it gets your dough formed, you want it to mix it for at least 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to mash it down in there and get all that off the sides. I'm not going to add the full half a cup. I'm going to just slightly sprinkle, probably 1/4 of a cup in there. We're going to start off with that. And I scrape down the sides good. So now we're going to give it another mix. Cut it up a little bit. And you can see how she's already working in that extra flour. We're going to lift it up. And I'm going to just sort of like form it into a ball. And I'm going to keep it on low this time and just let her work my dough for me. And I'm going to probably have to work it a little bit also on the counter. Okay, now at this point I'm going to go ahead and take it out of here and we're going to work it just a little bit before we form our loaf of bread. You can see right there how good and clean, just a tiny bit, got worked out of this bowl. It didn't leave any hardly behind. And now we're going to work it on our countertop. I've already cleaned the countertop real good. We're going to dust it with just a little bit more of the flour. And now we're just going to work our dough till we get it formed into our bread, our loaf of bread we're trying to make. Okay, now that we've got our dough ready, we're going to place it back in our bowl now, and I'm going to spray it. I'm going to spray it with a little oil, and we're just going to place it back in our mixing bowl. We're going to cover it, and I'm going to let that rise for around 30 minutes. Garlic's good for you, y'all. And we're going to have this with our bread. While our bread's cooking, we're going to place these in the oven with the bread on 350. Now we're going to put them in the oven on 350 for around 30 to 40 minutes. Now this recipe is just the easy, simple, basic loaf of bread. This is the loaf of bread that even kids will like. You can have it with dinners and even make a sandwich with. It's not too crumbly, so it makes even good sandwich bread. This recipe does. I'll link it down below. Now what you want to do is while you're waiting on your dough to rise, today we're going to be using our iron skillet loaf pan. This right here gives you a good crust using the iron skillet on your bread. Now if you want a softer crust, you could use like a glass dish or some kind of stoneware loaf pan. But we like our edges of our bread to be good and crispy. So I'm going to be using our cast iron loaf pan. We're just going to get it oiled up real good while we're waiting on our dough to rise. And I'm going to be using this avocado oil spray. So I'm just going to take it and we're just going to coat our loaf pan real good. And now let's check on our dough. Okay, this is how our dough looks. It's doubled in size since we put it in there. So now comes the fun part. We're going to take and we're just going to punch out the air in our dough. You just take it and push it down. And I could hear the air coming out whenever I first mashed it. Now there's two different ways you can do this. You can take your dough, look how pretty it's turned out and smooth, and work it on the counter with a little oil. Or you can just sort of form it in your hand. And we're going to put a little oil on our hands also, so our dough don't stick. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and spray the counter just a little bit with a little oil so I can put my dough down and work it just a little. Into the shape I'm trying to get it. And you want to spray your hands, that way it don't stick. And you could have, if it's too sticky of a dough, just add a little bit of flour and work it on your counter. But this right here is perfect. I'm not going to add any more flour to my dough. We're going to take our loaf pan, and I've got it formed almost the same size as my loaf pan right here. So we're just going to take and we're going to put our bread down in there. Shape it just a little. And we're going to get this shape just the way we want it. And now we're going to let this rise for around 10 more minutes. I'm going to place the pan right here on this vent. Right in here, a little warm air comes out of my oven when the oven's on. So now we're just going to let that sit there for around maybe 10 to 15 minutes and let it rise just a little. And then we're going to bake it. Okay, y'all, we've let our bread rise. So now we're going to put it in the oven and I'm going to bake it on 350 for around 40 minutes. While our bread's finished baking, let's check this garlic and see what it's looking like. Oh, it's done. Let me give it a taste. Oh goodness, y'all, that is so delicious. That fresh roasted garlic Ooh, that's going to be good on a piece of our bread. Put the lids back on these and slide them to the side back here. And now we've got a little bit of butter we're going to warm up to put on our bread also. Okay, y'all, our timer just went off, so now let's check our bread and see how it's turning out. Okay, look how pretty. Now we're going to take it and we're going to go ahead and we're going to coat it with some butter. We have a little bit of softened butter back here, and I'm just going to take this brush and we're going to coat the top of our bread. Okay, now this is what we're going to do now. I'm going to take this and we're going to get it out of the skillet and we're going to put it on our wire rack right here. Y'all, look at that. It didn't stick, not one bit. We're going to flip it over. And you want to put it on a wire rack like this, that way the air can circulate up under it while it's cooling. Don't put it directly like flat down or to make the bottom of your bread not crispy. So make sure you use a wire rack to put your loaf of bread on while it's cooling. Now we're going to let this loaf of bread cool for around probably 30 minutes, and then we're going to cut it and we're going to put some butter and garlic on ours. Okay, we're going to go ahead, it's still pretty warm, but I'm going to go ahead and cut a little piece of it just so I can show y'all what it turned out like. Look at that beautiful bread. It's still real hot, but I can't wait. We're gonna try a piece. I'm gonna try to hold it up so y'all can see how it turned out. There you go. See how hot it still is? But we went ahead and cut it. So now we're gonna take some of our garlic right here, move that over there. First, we're gonna take some butter. Let me get everything over here where y'all can see. And we're gonna put us some butter on our piece of bread. Just a light coat of butter. And now we're going to take our garlic out of here. Set it right here. And we're going to get one of these little cloves out. See that roasted garlic? It smells so good. And then we're just going to take our bread and we're going to take that roasted garlic and just cover our bread. We get just a little bit more. It's cooked so good. All you have to do, get that little peeling off, is just take your spoon and put down in that clove, that head of garlic, and the clove will come right out onto your spoon. And there you go. An easy, homemade loaf of bread. Let's give it a try. Oh goodness, y'all, that's so good. It's easy and simple. It's a recipe that even your kids will love. They'll never know you're making homemade bread. Look how soft. Okay, y'all. I hope y'all give this a try and make your own homemade loaf of bread. It's easy and simple. You can do it. It don't take much. And you can save a lot of money making your own homemade bread. If you like our video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. And now we're going to take our loaf of bread and we're going to place it in this wooden bread bowl. This was Travis's granny's bread bowl. And I'm going to store it in there because we'll use it within just no time. And we're going to cover it with this cover. And this right here will help keep the air from it. And we'll store it in this old-timey bread bowl with our cover. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed the video. And like always, thanks for watching.